Hey, how's it going, guys? I just wanted to make this quick video. I have a property and I'm wanting to drill a freshwater well so that I can use it to water gardens and wash cars, stuff like that. Save a little bit on the water bill. And the property's on a pond. And in the process of doing renovations, I wanted to dig down some in the basement. And after about 4 feet, I hit the water table. And it went from like kind of regular dry dirt to like a kind of beachy sand, which, is water bearing sand. And then after a couple, maybe 6 inches going down into the kind of beach sand, it all just started, getting waterlogged like it does with water bearing sand. So long and short, I'm not going to have a full basement, but I figured I would take advantage of the fact that the water table is probably about 5 feet deep in regard to the water bearing sand, and put in a well while I was digging. So one of the things that I kept running into is I started watching videos on YouTube on digging your own well, and what I found was it seemed like most of those videos were in pretty arid places where they were able to dig and the hole didn't collapse in on itself for the most part, and that's most certainly not what I have. I mean, for every shovel you take out, a half a shovel fills back in as the water is just kind of undermining the structure of that sand. So I spent some time and I came up with a system that I know is going to work, and I wanted to share that with you guys. What I'm going to be doing right now, I'm just going to go over the parts that I used and how I actually made it and how it's supposed to work. I'll also do some videos as I'm actually drilling that well. First thing that I did, I went to Harbor Freight. They have a Predator 2-inch trash pump. It was $199 plus the hoses and all the different things that I purchased to do what I needed. Ended up costing a little over $300. But I got a 25-foot discharge hose, 2-inch line. In addition to that, I bought the intake line, 2-inch, 20 feet. And this is kind of like a hard pipe. The Predator pump, I read some reviews on it, and it moves about 158 gallons a minute, which is a pretty significant amount of water. And what I did was, when I got down to the water table, and I'll show you in some later videos, is that I took window well casings for the outside up against the foundation wall, and I bolted 3 of them together. It's galvanized steel. And as I got to the water table, I dug a hole large enough, which is almost 6 feet across. And I put that casing down in there, and then I started digging. And as I was digging, I pushed that metal casing down, to where that casing is sitting 2 feet down into that water-bearing sand. And then I dug out all of the sand, keeping the structure of the sand intact everywhere else. And now that's, weeping in, and I have a roughly around a 300-gallon, basically like water reservoir that's down there. And now I want to drop a 4-inch pipe, go down maybe 10 or 15 feet, so that I can, utilize an actual well pump. So what I did was, all the videos I watched, they push this 4-inch pipe down and they use water. And essentially the water goes down the 4-inch pipe, comes outside, and comes back up along just the earth casing. In my situation, that sand is going to collapse in, and what I was concerned about is creating a big cavity under the ground that ultimately ends up sagging and dropping a lot of soil. I didn't want to create basically a sinkhole, because this water-bearing sand is super fine. So what I did was, give me a second here. So what I did was this. This is 4-inch pipe. I took a 4-inch T, 4x4x4, put about a 1-foot piece of pipe. This is going to be for my discharge water, all my tailings and everything. I put a reducer, a 4 to 3 inch reducer, glued a 6-inch piece of 3-inch pipe and then put a 3-inch to 2-inch rubber reducer. And then of course I put about a 1-foot piece of 4-inch pipe at the bottom that'll have a rubber clamp, a no-hub clamp that goes from here to my actual length of 4-inch pipe. Then what I did, I have a 10-foot length of 4-inch pipe. I took a cup link, I cut teeth into it so that the hole that's being cut is slightly larger than the actual pipe itself. But the secret to what I'm actually doing here is this. The 4-inch pipe is not going to be my water source. A 2-inch pipe slides up through the center of the 4-inch pipe and out the top. I'll use another no-hub clamp, and I'll be installing this 2-inch connection that'll connect to my trash pump. So I'll be pumping the water down the 2-inch pipe, which is on the inside of my 4-inch pipe. And what will happen is that water is going to bore my hole, and as the 2-inch pipe going down, the water going down the 2-inch pipe, it's going to come back up the 4-inch pipe on the inside. And that 4-inch pipe is going to act as a well casing, keeping the sand and the ground integrity intact. As the water comes up that 4-inch pipe, water is going down the 2-inch. There's a space here that the water is going to be going up, and it's going to discharge out of here. So what that's going to allow me to do is I'm going to be putting downward pressure on the 4-inch pipe, and as the 2-inch pipe, using basically a water jet, is mining for me and digging up the soil, pushing it up the 4-inch pipe and discharging, I'm going to be putting downward pressure on the 4-inch pipe and dropping the pipe down with the 2-inch pipe as a single unit. So basically I've created a well system, a well digging system, where the 2-inch pipe bores my hole for me and the 4-inch pipe drops down simultaneously, keeping the ground intact. So what I'm hoping is that at some point the soil changes and I hit something a little bit more solid. At that point I'll leave the 4-inch pipe where it is. I'll bore down further with that 2-inch pipe, fill with gravel, put a screen, and then my 2-inch pipe, I'll fill with gravel up the 4-inch pipe, use some clay and sands and seal that pipe off. And then my 2-inch pipe is actually going to be my well pipe, where I'll have hopefully a shallow well pump that's actually sitting, in the basement, which is going to pump the water up into the pressure tank. So I just wanted to share that with you. All of these parts were just purchased at the local Lowe's. I think I spent probably about $100 to build the system. But if you're concerned about your ground caving in as you're drilling, this is a way where you can drill down to where you hit more solid soil, where you're comfortable it's not going to cave in, and it gives you a casing to protect from cave-ins. I will say that I don't think that this is something I'm going to be able to do over the course of a couple days. I think once I get started, I need to keep going until I hit that harder ground, because I'm pretty positive that once I stop and there's no water flow, that sand's going to come around my 4-inch casing and probably hold it so tight that I won't be able to go up or down. So I'm intending to do it all in one day. I hope that this helps you guys. Stay tuned for the next video, where I'm actually using the drill, showing you guys how it operates, and getting it done. On a side note, my big well tank that's really below grade, 2 feet into the water casing, the 300-gallon tank, I'm going to end up filling that with gravel, and I'm going to pour my concrete slab over that entire thing, right up against the 4-inch pipe that's going to be sticking up out of the ground a few inches. So essentially that reserve tank and everything is all going to be underground, sealed, covered with plastic, then concrete, and that will provide somewhere around 300 gallons worth of water, that in and of itself, plus whatever the actual 10 or 15 foot 4-inch pipe drilled down is able to store and produce as more water pressure builds up. the deeper we go, hopefully it forces that water up. And if it comes up to a certain point at the top of my 4-inch pipe, I'm going to have some perforations. So as it comes up, it's able to go into that 300-gallon, basically, gravel pit, and, store it there so that I basically don't run out of water. All right. Hope this helped. Let me know in the comments. Thanks, guys. Bye.